pretty cool. I have to think about using Restream.
Yeah, so it's different than StreamYard, but very similar. I honestly went with it just because it was a little less expensive than StreamYard.
Oh, I did
Um,
not know that. I didn't know
yeah,
StreamYard cost.
like $50 a month if you want 1080p streaming.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so like I don't know, that's my bare minimum. I feel like is 1080p streaming. In today's world, like, so I was like, all right, I'll pay whatever I need to be able to have it because I'm picky, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
I
that's all
see.
right. So, good morning, hello, welcome. This is the latest installment in Gridiron Meet the Team. I'm here today with Mai. She is a front engineer on Gridiron Survivor. Good morning, Mai.
Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for having me again.
Of course, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
appreciating being here.
yeah. No, yeah, like talked for 2 minutes before starting this, so we got the pleasantries and everything out of the way. But it's always, it's always good, and um, I enjoy this. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I enjoy listening to all of your previous sessions as well. You gain a lot of nuggets. I loved yours and Karina's session as
Mm.
well. I learned a lot from that as well.
That was fun. That was a good one, and I just put that into practice. I did a PR review for James Quick on James Q Quick
Oh,
on Deals for Devs, and shot. I don't know. Maybe Shashi would be proud of my code review because I felt good about it. James seemed like
oh,
he was impressed, but I caught an accessibility thing, and I was like so proud of it. And then the accessibility expert that's part of Deals for Devs agreed with me, and I was like, fantastic. So that was
oh.
a personal win.
That's exciting. That's good for. And I feel like you're everywhere. You're on Deal for Devs. I think I saw you on Open Source,
Yes, just started that too.
and I feel like I saw you somewhere else. Like you're everywhere,
Ah,
in a good
I
way.
try.
In a good way.
No, just always trying to do more. Good morning. What's going on?
Good morning.
Uh, yeah, it's been a good time. Just trying to do more and learn more. And I just started changing my schedule personally a little bit so I could focus on more of my stuff. Um, but yeah, it's been fun.
Oh, are you doing personal projects on the side on top of all these other open source?
I want to and need to.
Oh, I was like, how do you find the time? You're gonna have to tell
No,
me.
no, I don't. So that's why, like, this week was the first week where I started taking days into account for not gridiron stuff because typically I'll make like every night available for gridiron,
Mm.
and some nights like it's great, but some nights I'm sitting there waiting for a response or code review or whatever, and then I'm sort of like found myself dilly dallying. I'm like, I need to just like hard cut off different parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I definitely agree with you on that. I do. I allocate a lot. I make sure that I allocate a lot of time to Gridiron, but
hmm
I do have to make sure that I allocate other times to do like other of my projects or studying leak or studying some DSA and stuff like that. So I have to make sure that I allocate time to that as well. So
I know you've been going hard on that. We'll definitely touch on that because I want to talk to you more
yeah. Oh
about
my
it.
God. Have you been doing it too?
No, again, it's something like I feel like I should start, and since we just started talking about it recently, um, yeah. Not Michaela is saying, or coffee's going on. I forgot my coffee. I can't believe it. I'm like
Oh
bone dry in here.
yeah, no. I don't have coffee at the moment, but I have water. I had my coffee earlier, or should I
There you
say
go.
3 weeks ago? So
Yeah,
yeah.
Michaela or Mika, your name is not Michaela, so that's what I'm calling you. Is not Michaela now. I feel like that's fair. All right, let's get started with some of the basic questions so people can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
So, who are you, Mai?
Um, that's a, that's such a that's a yeah. I was thinking of something else. No, but anyways, sorry. Keep it like rated PG, right?
PJ-13 is good.
Okay, okay. Just making
Yeah.
sure. Not that
Actually,
I'm gonna say anything explicit, but
no, you're good.
yeah. So who is my? So my I am from like central Wisconsin, born there my whole entire life, central Wisconsin, and then I went to university north, east, south, west. West of Wisconsin. I have to make sure I understand the coordinates correctly. Yeah, so I went to school in west of Wisconsin. I major in poli sci and minor in economics. I thought I wanted to go to law school, so that's why I major in poli sci. And I had a really good macro econ teacher, so that influenced me to go towards the economics route.
Okay.
Yeah, but it didn't turn out that way, of course. So here I am now. So a little after I graduated from university, I found myself in accounting and finance, which is crazy because um, I didn't take any accounting or finance classes. So I found myself into accounting, doing month end closes. If you're well aware of that, so yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So
interesting.
it's crazy how I ended up there. I think you went to school for music, correct?
I did, yeah. Music education and
Yeah.
performance.
And then did you find I think you went a different route from what you graduated in too, correct?
Yeah, so I actually never graduated. I went to no, three different schools,
Mm.
and
All the same
just
majors, right?
all the
Or-
same majors, but
mm.
none of them transferred my music credits, which was really frustrating.
What?
So, it was just like I would have to restart at each school. And I got to the last school, I took their placement exams, passed them with like aced them, I should say. And then they didn't let me start higher than the ground level. And it was a 5-year program just for the music stuff. Like all my gen eds were taken care of, except like one class.
Mm.
And after my first year there, I saw the pile of debt I had, and I was just like, "Nah, I can't do this." So I never got my degree, but I was performing in the tri-state area, New York, Long Island, which is part of New York, but Connecticut, New Jersey, and teaching privately,
Oh,
managing a couple of different music stores.
oh,
It
you
was a
were
lot.
busy. You're probably busy every weekends and stuff like that for
I
shows.
was working at least 8 hours a week for several years. Yeah,
Oh wow!
yeah, it was a
Sorry,
lot.
can you remind me? You played an instrument, right? Or
Violin and viola. Yeah,
oh, nice. Okay,
yeah, it was fun.
yeah. But yeah, and how did you find yourself into this kind of into the dev world? Or wait, sorry. Before we get to the dev world, you're an analyst yourself too right now, aren't you?
No, I'm in aerospace and defense.
Oh yes, yes, yes. How'd
I
you find
buy
yourself
things for a
there?
living. It's great.
Oh,
Not really. I hate it, but
you're
yeah.
doing shopping for us, huh?
I just I needed a job and it paid decently well, and I knew someone that helped me get into it because every other candidate they were looking for had a college degree, and they gave me a shot, and I think I've done well over the last 4 years. I got a promotion within a year and a half. So we have swapped jobs after 2.5 years. Now I'm back at company number one, but yeah, it's a job. It pays the bills. But
Yeah.
just like you, it's like transitioning into something that you're interested in, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then, wait, how did you find out that you were interested in the dev world as well? I love to know. Yeah, it's been a minute since I talked to you, Ryan. I felt
I
like
know, I know. It's been a minute.
that was a while ago.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. You said you majored in comp sci.
No, poli sci
Poli
with
sci.
science.
Okay, that's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I was like, well, that's a natural course for you, but not
Oh
so
no.
natural. So for me, I was always a techie and always interested into tech and stuff like that. And I was always interested in coding, but because music was my life, it was my entire world. Um, I never focused on anything else. Oh, thank you, Jason. Um, and good morning, everyone in chat. I appreciate you all jumping in.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, look at us. Look at this turnout. But so I was always a techie, always interested in coding, but never did it because music was my only thing. Music and video games, like that's what I did. And I finally decided to give it a shot when I was in like 2018, 2019, like not really working towards a career. At that point I was like out of the music scene by choice. And so I said, "Oh, let's give front end like just web development a try." And then I bounced around to different topics. I bounced from web development to cloud architecture with AWS to IT work because I'm good with technology. Like it's not like it's a
Mhm.
foreign thing to me whatsoever. And then I finally circled back on front end web development after like doing that search. How about you?
How I Oh, sorry, quick question before we
Hmm.
transition over. I'm like wondering, do you still play from time to time violin and viola from time to
Not too
time?
much anymore. Not too much anymore. I played for my sister's wedding a year ago.
Oh,
Yeah. I did a lot of arranging for that. So, taking a song that exists and rewriting it for different ensembles. So, like, I
oh,
would arrange Ed Sheeran songs for string quartet. I arranged quite a few things actually, just whether it's for gigs that I was performing in or just for fun. And then, like, I sold a few. I sold to my local high school. I sold to a friend who has a string quartet in New Jersey. They play around, do weddings, and apparently one of them is like their top hit. Like, it's great. So, yeah,
oh.
that I can still do from time to time, which is actually why I just tweeted about a software called Finale, which was music notation software, and they are killing the product after 30 some odd years in the industry. And for me, that was huge because I started using it in like 2005. Like, my friend had like pirated a version of it because it was stupid expensive. Like, I was in sixth grade, I think. Like, so yeah, I don't play much at all anymore, but I always can compose or arrange, or I mean, my instrument's just upstairs, so I can always bust it out too.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, that reminds me. There is like, I think I watched it on Shark Tank. There is a business out there that does like music for weddings or something like that. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but
No, I don't think so. I do.
they, I gosh, I can't remember, but saw it on Shark Tank. They do go around and they sell music for weddings or something like that. But yeah, that kind of
Huh.
reminds me about that. So,
Yeah, it was fun. I know there's a really popular quartet called Vitamin String Quartet, or VSQ for short. I'm bringing this up because I saw Nick mention listening to Cypress Hill on string quartet. They arrange and record so many different songs, like pop, rock, whatever you could imagine of. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, look up Vitamin String Quartet, and you'll probably find something you'd like.
oh, I'll have to after our stream. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. So, all right, turning the attention back on you. How did you find your way in tech?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So I found myself graduating. Then I went to accounting, and then I went to finance. And then with finance, you had to touch accounting in general too. You had to touch a lot of Excel, and then in finance, I found myself touching a lot of SQL. I for some reason I missed a course of touching Excel back in college, and I have no clue how to touch Excel. It was also foreign to me, but
Really?
yeah, which is crazy because I should have never graduated without touching Excel, but I did. But yeah, because I only always use yeah Word, so I never touch Excel ever. So I had to teach myself how to use Excel, how to write like functions, or just how to like
Mm,
do like if statements within Excel, and then with SQL, I had to learn how to like write SQL, basic SQL, and all that stuff. So I had to teach myself a lot of that, and I think that kind of catapulted me to okay. So not, after like learning like Excel and SQL, that kind of catapulted my learning to be like okay, well now I know how to write SQL. Now I know how to do if statements, write VBA macros, all that stuff.
nice.
Because yeah, like what macros is that with a push of button, it can do like this certain mini steps all into just a push of button. So yeah, with that catapulted me to be like, okay, if I can do that, I could definitely code a program. So yeah, that got me because I've been thinking about like transitioning to becoming like a software engineer, doing web dev stuff, all that stuff. It's always on the tip of my mind. I'm like, one day I'll do it, one day I'll touch it, one day I'll get
Yep.
started. So yeah, I started taking some free code camp. Shout out Quincy.
Very cool.
I did some intro to JavaScript, and I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and just take the leap and let's just do it. So I decided to jump into doing boot camp because with the accelerated version, I needed that accountability to be like, okay, you're going to show up every day. We're going to learn something new every day. I needed
Mm-hmm.
that at the moment. And so I completed a boot camp about 2 years ago. Yeah. And then just
Wow.
been on that hunt ever since. So,
I
yeah.
don't blame you looking for a boot camp. That structure, I think, is unparalleled, whether it's school
Mm,
or a boot camp. And I remember having that exact struggle being self-taught. I was just like, God, I would kill to go to boot camp just for the structure, and that's
Oh
where
yeah.
I never did because money, but
Hmm.
money, the inability to not work because of money, like there's so many reasons, but the surrounding money, I should say. Yeah, same Roxy, right? Like I can't afford that. Like I wish I started in development when I was 18 instead of going towards music. Yeah, Kenneth. Yeah, Yeah, for anyone on Twitter, the title says Eddie. I don't know why Restream didn't update Twitter, so I
I
can't
am
blame anyone but
Eddie.
the Restream. Eddie is she, and he is she. Eddie, yeah, and Mai. That's frustrating, but I'll have to see what setting to that. Why am I yelling? Is my gain high? Is my gain too high? I don't know. All these students. Oh, Roxy's yelling. Got it. Not me. Um, so yeah, the Excel thing is interesting, especially with you being a finance analyst, right? Like you needed
Yeah.
to obviously be proficient in Excel, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Um, I would. It's funny because now that you can use, I think Python in Excel in the newest versions of it, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't say I'm an Excel expert whatsoever, but I definitely have learned to use it a lot with my job. And people will come to me like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "It was a formula. Like, just look it up and figure it out."
Yeah.
But being able to do that stuff on a whim and creating macros and stuff is very cool. And that is still programming. Like, you're still writing code, which is cool, right?
Yeah, like yeah, within like macros itself, there's like data structures as well, like arrays and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. There's a lot of like similarities that I can definitely like transfer over from like finance into like web dev and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So, what made you want decide on web development? What made you say this is what I want to explore versus other avenues?
Yeah. So the reason why I want to go into web dev, well, the reason why I want to switch over is because yeah, the reason why I want to switch over is because like when you produce like month end reports and talk about like the company saved this X amount of money and stuff like that. At the end of the day, that savings doesn't trickle down to the customers. It only impacts the company. And
Hmm.
that left me feeling unfulfilled. Like, okay, we did this much, but then like customers don't feel an impact, and there's no like there was no satisfaction from hearing that. So that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to like transition over to becoming a web dev, because I love people and I love being able to like make a direct impact on people. Because that like by making it's crazy because by making just a button that impacts a lot of people. So yeah, so I love the impact of that, and that's why I decided to transition over, and I loved it since transitioning over. I love it because, and not only just like the impact that you get to make on your customers, but also the tech community. You guys are all really, really, really sweet, caring, loving, and like nurturing people, and you guys like love seeing other people win. I love that. Not saying that the other communities didn't, not saying that like finance communities like didn't and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see that within like tech Twitter. I definitely see that with like to me, I think it's crazy. Like tech, Twitter or anywhere in the tech industries, it's such a big industry, big network, but yet it's kind of small in a way because you do know this person, that person knows that person, and that person knows that person, and so it's kind of small. Like, hey, you guys know this person too, so yeah, I love that about this community.
Yeah, I do too. I think it is definitely what you make it because there's
Hmm.
the very toxic and not good sides of it as well. But that's anything realistically, right? Um, how do you feel about sort of? And I'm curious because I have thoughts on it or feelings, but do you feel like where you are in the tech space, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn, Discords you're in, do you ever feel like you're in a bubble of developers? And if you do, is that a good or bad thing?
Um, I definitely do feel like I'm in a bubble of developers, but I don't feel like that's a bad thing. Because yeah, I'm trying to think about it, and I'm like, because because I'm trying to think about like the discords I'm in. I'm trying to think
Mm-hmm.
about like LinkedIn. I'm trying to think about on X, Twitter, whatever name you want to call it. But
Yep.
Yeah, when I think about that, I'm definitely in a bubble of developers, definitely in a bubble of people who are like pursuing the same path as I am, or even just starting out. And I think that's a good thing. I love seeing what people are up to, what they're creating, or what they have created, and what kind of knowledge they can always pass on to other people. I think it's a good thing. Like maybe I'm on the right side of all the right kind of communities, but yeah, that's what I've been seeing thus far, and I think I've been seeing great things out of it, and also making good networks and seeing good things
Hmm.
that other people accomplish, and that only makes me want to become better because seeing what you guys accomplish, I'm like, I want to strive for that too. So
Yeah,
you
no,
can make me become better.
I agree. I think every time I see, for example, you've been posting a lot about the DSA stuff, or
Mm.
seeing wins. Brian Morrison just released project called Space Charter for scheduling spaces on X and stuff, and like seeing that, I'm like, God, I just want to build stuff, and so you're right in that. I think there's definitely the good sides of it that if you surround yourself with the right people, they're just going to bring you up, and that's again outside of Twitter and outside of whatever. That's just like life things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think as long as you make sure to educate yourself and maybe look up things for yourself, because for example, like right now in the space that I'm in the bubble I'm in, which I'm sure we're in very similar ones, like Cursor, the IDE has been getting all the attention in these last 2 weeks, and I'm sure it's great. And I think it's cool, and I'm not downplaying it whatsoever, but like get that shiny object syndrome and just like in case
Yes.
it like is it an easy thing to transfer over? I'm sure it is, but it's just something that I don't need to toy with right now. I need to instead work on my functional engineering stuff. I don't need to toy with the new IDE and then feel like, oh, look what I did today.
Yeah, no, I
So,
totally agree with you on that, Ryan. That shiny objects syndrome
hmm
is so real, especially like right after boot camp. I was like, okay, now that I'm done with boot camp, I don't have like a schedule or criteria to follow. I'm like, which path do I like endeavor now? And it's so real because you always want to work on a new thing, but also it's like for me, I had to go back and tone it down a little bit and work on like fundamentals, understand like JavaScript fundamentals before I could branch out into like other languages, and also
yeah.
like learn like React and stuff like that before I could branch out and learn other frameworks and stuff like that, because with React you can gain a lot of like understanding before, and that could be applicable to other frameworks as well. So that's one thing I had to tone down a little bit, and even that shining object syndrome is still real to this day.
Oh, 100%. Oh, I
Yeah.
have a list of things I want to learn,
Yeah.
and it's just like
Astro.
I
Astro
don't forget. And see, Astro, yeah, HTMX. I would like to mess with. Going back to your tech community things, just a couple things I want to point out. Yeah, Kenneth is right. It's what the tech community is all about. If you surround yourself with the right people, right? Like, and I think a lot of us are over this. Like, let's berate people. Not that anyone in this group would, because again, like these are all good people. But we've seen that side of tech where people just berate you for making a different choice in technologies or whatever tools you use. So, and the giving back, like, and having. You feeling personally satisfied with your work, I think is huge. And Josh, is another one here. When you celebrate other successes, you see you win too. Yeah, I mean that's why we have like our self promotion channels, right? In the various discords, like we want to share our successes, but we also want to see other people's, right?
Agree, agree. And so, yeah, I love it when you guys share anything and everything, small little wins that you guys had today, or a big feature you guys did, or anything like that. I love to see everything. So,
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be coding related. Like I think
oh yeah,
that's the best part is
nice.
yeah, life. Like
Yeah.
Roxana often just posts about her gym stuff and like attempting to do a
Mhm.
handstand and what like all this stuff, and it's great, or deadlift. Like I love that. It's awesome. So like keep it going, keep being a
Agree.
good community because I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect platform, but if we just make that platform and surround ourselves with those people that we want to be and good people, then it'll be all good.
Agree. Yeah.
So you already mentioned one, which was free code camp, I believe. So
Hmm.
along the way of between your boot camp and your self-taught side of things, um, what resources have you really enjoyed? Give me like top two or three.
Okay, yeah, besides free code camp, I love that because it has like a structure, some sort of structure that you can follow, like intro to fundamentals. It has like a whole like big module for you to follow. Another one would definitely be YouTube. A lot of great stuff on YouTube to watch for visual learners. And I love the one that Alex mentioned in his session with you is that roadmap. Uh,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
yeah, if you need to know like a specific path, like what you need to know to get there, I like that because that has like a sense of direction for people who are learning on what you need to know. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. For those of you that don't know it, I'll share the link. I think it's roadmap.sh.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've recently done a big not recently, I guess, but since the last time I really looked at it. Um but they did a nice redesign and it points you everywhere and everything like really good tool. Again, like I think doing your own research is still valid, but at least this gives you that structure, right, of where can I focus. And I've likened the roadmap before to the CompTIA or CompTIA exams for a lot of IT certifications, because they'll have a roadmap and be like, hey, you're starting here, and let's just say there's four categories of where you want to go: internet security or like whatever, cybersecurity and stuff like that. And it'll show you the exams you should take to get there, and then along the way, like what jobs you might be right for. So, yeah, big fan of all three of those. I mean, YouTube is great. Again, just try to find reputable people, right?
Agree. Oh, I also want to mention, Ryan, you're talking about like giving back. I hope it's okay if I jump the gun a little bit too. This one particular question that you had
Yeah.
about short term and long term goals. So,
Yes.
what my short term goals is definitely to get better at DSA, problem solving, writing cleaner code, being able to help out a little bit more with the Gridiron Survivor project, and then my long term, I say within 3 to 5 years. Um, I really want to attend at that conference. You guys made it so fun, so I'll have to go to one of these days, and then
Yeah.
hopefully, one of I in my head is long term in October or November. I definitely do want to go to Danny's conference. Well, we'll
Mm,
see. So it depends on what date it is. If it's towards Thanksgiving weekend, it's a maybe. During holidays, it's a maybe.
I think it's earlier in November. I could be
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah, I
I don't
don't
know
think
if
there's a
he's.
set date yet.
Yeah, I forget if there's a set date. I'm kind of waiting on my jobs to be flexible. On my job, I should say, to be
Mm.
flexible, because there's all things open happening in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then shortly thereafter, I think is Danny's.
Oh,
And
I see.
if I can go to both, that'd be great. So we'll have to see.
Oh,
November 6th and 7th, and Roxy is saying.
oh, I see. Oh, thank you for the dates. Yeah, no, I must have missed that somehow.
It's all right. I somehow miss most of Danny's tweets, and it kills me. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How is the algorithm not feeding me Danny's stuff?
yeah, I don't see a lot of people's tweets anymore. I don't know why either. So
Yeah, it's really
yeah.
frustrating. Nick, I'm trying to get down there. It all depends on my job letting me work remotely while I travel. Just to alleviate. That's my whole problem is my job. Like that's why I couldn't go to that Wisconsin.
Mm,
Um, because I don't currently work at a tech job, so they're not going to support me going to a conference for a totally different field and a field that I'm trying to get into. Um, you know, So yeah, Nick says it's okay that I could go. Um, and they're really not
Invoice
a
Nick.
big fan of remote working, which is a struggle. I've talked about this before, but it would make life so much easier, so I can like take a train down to North Carolina, work any hours that I can while I'm down there, because it alleviates the PTO issue, but also alleviates them seeing like, oh, Ryan's going to be gone for X amount of time, you know? And the
Yeah,
same thing goes for the Texas one. I could just travel to the Texas one, whether by flight or whatever, and then work. And you know what? It would be great too, because I would love to spend more time with Roxy down there, and Shashi's in Austin. I have friends in Houston that I haven't been to their home in like 2 years. It's like remote work gives you that possibility
yeah.
and that flexibility, and that's really why I want to do it. So again, it all depends on my job being flexible enough. We'll have to see. But I love those goals. I think you're doing a great job in Gridiron, which is actually where our conversation is going to go in a second here. But so the fact that you want to contribute more and definitely get to the conferences. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
it looks like a ton of fun. They are a ton of fun. And
Oh,
again, part of that is the people that you're surrounded by. That conference is a little bit special in that in the way that Clark structures it and has the focus more on connections and community. Like, yes, it's about the talks and the presentations and stuff, but even not all of those are about tech. You know, Chris gave one on productivity and things like
Mhm.
that. You know, and there are great ones on tech and languages and stuff like that. But you always meet the people, and that's the best, most important thing. You know.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I heard great things and from great people, and I watched all your the speakers sessions, so I loved it all. So yeah, it definitely didn't hit the same. I'm sure it wouldn't. It did. Well, I'm sure that. I know that it didn't hit the same like just watching it versus being
Mm-hmm.
in person. So one of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
days, one of these days. Yeah,
But I appreciate them doing it, having it,
yeah.
the keynotes available for us watching remotely. So,
Agree. I also want to mention that one of my long term goal is that I don't know yet, but one day I definitely do my might. We'll see. Like I don't know what will happen, but then after being on social media so long, I might disappear into the abyss. And I really want to do like silent. Okay, well, it's not silent anymore now that I'm talking about it, but I do really want to do like quiet donations and stuff like that later on because the way I see it, the way I can give back right now is definitely through support. Later on down the long road,
mm-hmm.
I can give my knowledge, my mentorship later down the long road and later on down the long road, when I can accumulate a little bit more wealth, I think I can definitely like give a little bit more that way.
I
So
think that's awesome, and I
yeah,
think it's great to see that, and I appreciate everyone that already does stuff like that. You know, I
yeah,
think because it makes
agree.
such a difference. It really
It
does.
does.
Yeah, and it makes things more possible for people. You know, and travel is expensive. That's the one thing,
Yeah,
but if people are willing to help, it's all the better.
agree. Agree. How about
So
you?
we've talked about Gridiron a little bit. Everyone here already knows what it is, but let's hear from your mouth. Uh, in your own words, what is Gridiron Survivor, the app?
Yeah, I watched your session, so I'm gonna start with the problem first. So, what Gridiron Survivor is, it is a SaaS application designed to simplify and automate, the streamline, automate for the owners and help streamline the betting. I wouldn't say it's a betting process because I make it sound like gambling. So I don't want to make it sound like gambling, but then where you place,
It is a version of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But I know that you don't want to use the word gambling, but yeah, but definitely like what it is, it helps automates the management of football for league owners, allowing the players to easily place bets, remind them as well, and then receive instant notifications if they won or lost by winning or picking their teams, and then reducing manual effort, just making the overall user experience family friendly and fun. So.
Yeah, yeah. Gridiron Survivor has been a good time, I think.
mm,
And even for those that aren't fans of football, I think they could enjoy a Survivor League, which Gridiron Survivor is built off of. It's different from regular fantasy football, which is a little bit more intricate. And in my mind, you have to be more knowledgeable of things. But there's also definitely some strategy that comes into picking your teams week by week, right? So yeah, it's. I think it's been fun. What do you think?
It's been really fun. Yeah, shout out to Sashi for this project. I was just joking around with my partner. I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I think I owe Sashi my first kid for, for creating this project for like letting all of us on for like giving us like this like agile sprint experience, and then doing unit testing, all the code reviews and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I mean, if you want my first kid, but
he
no pressure. Just
he already
kidding.
said he was going to adopt me at 33, 30, almost 33 years old. So
Basically, he's adopting all of us.
yeah, I know. Yeah, Shashi doesn't have enough kids. Exactly. All right. So you're a front engineer at Gridiron Survivor. What does that mean? What do you do?
I do a lot of things. Mainly what my role consists of is I do the back end to the front end. I very little do I do the front end with the design. I know that you're having more on the designs, and I love that because what you create for your designs are so beautiful,
I
and I
can't
help.
take the pro. I can't take the design aspect for it, but I can take the implementing the design.
Oh, I see. No, I thought it was you who created some of the designs. All
Not yet. Not yet.
is it all Jaina or more
Mm-hmm.
Sashi or? Oh, I
Yeah, it's
see.
all Jaina. Who's someone maybe I should try to get on here. We haven't seen
Yeah,
much of
that'd
her,
be
but
cool.
I just wanted to point that out that I'm not doing the designing. I'm just implementing it. So you're working not on the UI UX side of things, but the other part of front end, right?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, yeah, just tying the pieces together, making sure that it has some functionality to it, making sure that, when you do click a button or you submit a form or something like that, all the data gets sent to the back. Or even if you press a button or something like that, all the data gets sent to the front. So working with that.
How do
Yeah.
you like that? Is that your preferred place in the web development space?
Oh, that's a good question. As of right now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't see myself too like design heavy with CSS, and I don't see myself too much backend heavy, which is like looking at like backend data. At least you can see a little bit. You can interact with the front end and talk a little bit with the back end, so you get a little best of both worlds. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I was just talking to someone who at their company there's like a very big back end, but then there's just APIs created for every bit of back end that that the front end engineers to access. So there's this middle place where front engineers just go here and then the back end developers pick up from there, and
Mm,
I'm with you. And I think again, it's a part of my development that I want to get better at because I want to be able to do. I mean, realistically, for me, I want to be full stack and be able to do it all. But at least knowing all the front end stuff is my goal, my current goal.
and I feel like you're so good at that. I think you're excelling really far on your front end. That I need to learn front end from you. That's
No, please. I've just did a lot of HTML and CSS because it was something that I liked.
oh, I see. Like more vanilla JavaScript. That.
Yeah, so that's where I started. Was just HTML and vanilla JavaScript, and then I learned about SAS and SCSS,
Mm.
which really just is vanilla JavaScript, but with added functions and utilities. Like you could literally write Java. It's basically like was ahead of its time. Like vanilla CSS has caught up so much to that you don't typically need it anymore, in my opinion, but you still can. And then Tailwind is just a utility. It's like a CSS framework, and so that's what we're using in our project, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna make Tailwind work, I've said this to my brother. I've said it to several other people. Like, you really should know vanilla JavaScript very comfortably because you're going to spend a lot of time in the docs or trying to figure out what you need to do. If you know what you need to do first in Tailwind, in vanilla CSS, then you're just looking up the Tailwind classes, and then once you learn those, you're good to go. But if you're like, okay, know a little bit of CSS, then I'm jumping straight into Tailwind, still figuring out how do I make this layout work? How do I
Mm.
center a div? Whatever it might be. So you're like learning on top of learning there, which isn't great.
Oh, I see. Yeah, definitely good to know.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I say, like, if you're feeling uncomfortable with vanilla CSS or just CSS in general, start with vanilla now because it is so powerful. It's amazing the things you can
Mhm.
do, and it's even getting to the point now where there are some Java, like people used to write JavaScript for stuff that is now native to CSS, and I think that's awesome. The less JavaScript, the better.
I see. Sorry, I was just
Um,
Nick's comment there.
Yeah, yeah. MDN is great if you need offline docs for CSS, HTML, or a bunch of other languages. DevDocs.io is a great place. That's awesome.
Yeah,
DevDocs.io. Have I seen this site before? I've never heard of this site
never heard of
before.
it either. Doc.io.
Nick coming with the
That's nice.
clutch recommendations. Awesome. Thank you for that, Nick. Um, yeah, Upa saying I really enjoy creating variables in CSS. It's great. I love CSS variables, and when they came up, so you couldn't do that in vanilla CSS at first. That's something that you could do in SAS, which was great. And then now you can do it. So it's really really cool. Um, And then Upa is also saying Tailwind is nice to have for me, but I enjoyed using pure CSS. Pure CSS I didn't use. It's just something that I didn't never felt the need to. But there's so many tools. You're not wrong for picking the ones you like, right?
Hmm. Who knows? You
Um,
might like something else too. Shiny object syndrome leads me to something else, and I pick up something new. So, or in a new
exactly.
profession too. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean like you can't always just make it work by like not brute forcing, but like figuring it out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
But similar to how a lot of people recommend learning at least JavaScript fundamentals before jumping into React. I'd say learn CSS fundamentals before jumping into Tailwind. It's not hard. Just takes, it's just a different method of doing things. And some people love it, some people hate it. Like, did you jump straight into using Tailwind, or did you like wait to start using it in a project?
I waited to do before I started using Tailwind. So,
Me
yeah.
too. Yeah, it was like a conscious thing. I think I was like such a I don't like I guess like purist, so to speak. I'm like, why do I need Tailwind? Like I know vanilla CSS and I enjoy it and blah blah blah, or I'll just use Sass, whatever. And then when I rewrote my most recent portfolio, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna learn Tailwind," and then I saw why people like it so much. I'm like, okay, like I'm sold, you know.
I'll have to check out your portfolio. I think it's been a while since I've seen it.
I think it's the same one that I've had since I met you, but I do plan on doing some more work to it eventually. But again, that's like such a off. It's something that exists now, and I'm happy with it.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, Ryan, like work on the other things first, and then I could do that.
I see.
Mika here is saying I'm a purist to a fault and use vanilla CSS. I know a little bit about Tailwind. I should just probably adopt it. I'm just stubborn. That's exactly how I was, and more and more I saw people using Tailwind, and the more I was like almost turned off by it. But then I started seeing Tailwind show up in job applications. I'm like, all right, it's time that I learn this. Mika, if you're good with CSS, you'll pick up Tailwind in no time. Just
Mm-hmm.
and make sure like the docs are great. Pick up the Tailwind IntelliSense extension for. I'm sure it's more. It supports more browsers than VS Code, but because it'll give you that autocomplete and show you suggestions for what you need. And I couldn't imagine using Tailwind without it, to be honest. Okay, so I won't check out. So speaking of Gridiron and sort of challenges, maybe with you not feeling like CSS is your forte, what has been the most challenging part of Gridiron for
Testing.
you?
Definitely a new concept that I'm glad that we're getting drilled about and learning. Not only just that, but clarifying objectives of the tickets, being able to make sure we ask good questions and understand what we're trying to achieve. Um, I think for sure another challenging part of that is writing clean code, siloing responsibilities. Like you said, we both come from like doing our own projects and we were full stack before that, but now we're just like, okay, we're just this now. We can't do this and this and this. So
Yep.
yeah, and definitely communication, written and verbal as well. Communicating like not only just responsibilities, but being able to communicate our code thoughts and process effectively as well, written and verbal as well, has like been
Mm-hmm.
really yeah, I found those to be a little bit challenging because you have to understand like who you're talking to and the level of code they understand and how you want to go ahead and express and explain that, because I love all these questions on these PR reviews that we get. Well, I do, because it challenges me to how do I explain this
Mm-hmm.
so they understand. Yeah, that's definitely been some of the challenging parts for me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, testing's definitely been the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably and for all of us. I feel like every gridiron stream we're like, yeah, testing's been the hardest thing for us all, and blah blah blah.
Yes. Yes.
So that and definitely, I mean, communication at first, but I definitely feel like since we all had like our first uh big conversation like about communicating and how it needs to be better. I feel like I've put a really big like point of doing it. So testing for me, and not even like I keep creeping my own scope. Like I keep doing more than maybe the tickets express, or I'm not looking for that clarity that you're mentioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Shashi has mentioned this, like ask questions, and and because you're gonna get a tickets in a real job that maybe are ambiguous and stuff like that. Actually, I wanted to share this. Short people can go watch later, but um, Danny Thompson just put out a like a short video about this, about developers sort of like gauging how long tasks are going to take and making sure you're asking those questions in those meetings where they're assigned and things like that, and getting all that communication and making sure it's in the ticket. Because people will talk in person or on a call, and then it doesn't get translated into the ticket, and you're like, wait, all those things we just talked about. Like I have a habit of, if I get a phone call from a coworker, I will follow up with an email so I have it in writing. And part of that's to cover my ass, because I
Mm-hmm.
need to at my workplace. But part of that is also A, making sure I've got all the details down, and B, making sure everyone's on the same page. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely say go give that a watch. Just is a little bit more clarifying. It has a couple good tips. Um,
Yeah, one
Nick's,
thing. Oh, sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. No, 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 go ahead.
Oh no, because I was just gonna say the clarifying objective part. Now that I'm studying like data structures, algorithms, doing all those leak code, fun stuff. One thing I come to like seeing some similarities is understanding the objectives. When a leak code asks you certain problems, certain trying to get something out of you, you have to kind of clarify and understand the problem solve and ask all those edge cases to understand what that objective you're trying to hit. So I feel like you'd be really, really good at data structures and algorithms because you're already doing all the right things, asking all the right questions. Do you have all the right information that you need to solve it? So I think you'd be really good at
I had
doing
to give it another shot. It's been a while since I've tried it because in the past I did. I'm like, no, like this is not for me.
I yeah, I had to pick it up for like the 10,000th time because data
Yeah.
structure and algorithm is not like a natural thing to me. And I'm like, okay, it's asking. I don't know what's asking me. On top of that, you had to learn all these like data structures fundamentals first before you can like learn how to implement it and understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you have to learn how they work and interact to know which one to use. So
Right.
yeah, no, but I
Right.
think it'll be really good because you're already asking all the do I have all the answer or do I have all the answers that I need? Did I ask any other questions? I think you'd be really good. So
Well, I will report soon. I'm gonna try to make some
that
time
sounds
for it, especially if
good.
we all applied for like that Microsoft Leap program and things like that, and it'll come up, right?
Hmm.
Just going back to this, Nick says it's always good to ask questions and challenge a feature. I agree. I think more often than not, I feel like Shashi will just be like, not that no. I feel like Shashi will stand his ground on it, but I don't think being inquisitive is a bad thing. And it actually just in my PRs, I like, hey Shashi, like I kind of disagree with this, and I'm waiting on his answer. Um, Part of that is like not naivety, but the lack of knowing from on my end, right? Like I don't know why the change Shashi might be suggesting is a required or a good change. So I want that information, and I think it's a good and bad thing on my end that I want to know why I'm doing things all the time. I don't just like taking direction and doing. I need to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, um, and I
I
don't think
love
that's a
that.
bad thing.
No, it's not at all because you have a different view and perspective, and Sasha has a different view and perspective, and you guys are probably just not seeing eye to eye on it at the moment. You just need to understand where each other's coming from.
Yeah, and just like and that goes for anyone. That goes for the suggestions you might make on my tests, my
Mhm.
PRs or Chris or whoever. Like, I'll ask us sometimes a clarifying question because I don't know why you're suggesting that, and it's never.
Mhm.
And this is where like text can get maybe construed. It's never like coming back at it as, in a defensive or
Oh, no,
aggressive
not at
manner. It's
all.
always just curiosity because it's just like
Yeah.
I want to learn, just like you want to learn from. You always ask like, "Hey, why did you do it this way?" Like, I'd love to learn why you did it, went about it this way, or why you made the changes you did because you're just looking to
Mhm.
absorb as much as you can, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Gridiron's I think been really good for all of us, and just seeing your code that you've been pumping out and the functional side of the front end stuff, I really am jealous of. So I'm trying to get to that point.
Oh no, you're definitely already there. I love all the designs that you've been pumping out as well, and I love that you got to do a little bit of functional engineering yourself and got
Yeah.
into that. So,
It was a talk that I had with Shashi, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month. I don't know. Time flies and time goes slow at the same time. But I told him, I'm like, this is a weakness of mine that I want to address. And it just hasn't, between the lack of, I'm pretty, for the most of the work right now on the UI UX team, most of it is on me because I have the most time of everyone on that team. And that's fine. Like I'm happy to do that. But when time allows it and those UI UX tickets are complete, then I hopefully should be getting some more functional side of things.
mhm.
Tickets thrown at me, which I'm looking forward to.
And I'm
All right.
excited for you. So,
Thank you. What are the top three communities you'd recommend to other junior developers? Because this has been a big topic of everything we've been talking about already today is community and who you surround yourself with. So
yeah,
what are the top
definitely.
two or three you'd recommend to people?
Yeah, definitely. I love Sashi's Discord community. So come hang out with us. Let's get technical. I don't have an invite. I think you're a mod, so you might be able to send out invites too. So
Yeah, Shashi trusted
um,
me pretty early on with that mod. It's great.
I love it. You've done wonderful things with that,
Ah, thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
So yeah, 100 devs definitely. Oh, such great people there. Also, I'm here. I'm out here in LA, and out here in LA, we have this Learn Teach Code. It's called Learn Teach Code, and you can find them on Meetup.com. They do have in-person meetings, but they also have some virtual mentorship meetings. You don't have to be from LA to join those virtual mentorship meetings. People from different industries, data analytics, software engineering,
Hmm,
and all that other stuff. They come from all different kind of fields. They come out here and they well not they come out here, but we all meet online and we talk and discuss and they give you tips and tricks, answer any of your questions. So definitely come and hang out there sometimes. I do attend there, not as a mentor. I go in as a mentee at the moment. So yeah, definitely come and hang out there sometimes. Great
nice.
people to meet. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a really great meetup group. And
mhm.
are you like in LA? Are you not super far from there? I ask because like I'm near New York City, but it still takes me an hour plus to get there.
By driving or by train?
Both.
Both. Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So like for me, I want to go to the city for more meetups because that's really where they are. But
Hmm.
it's hard for me to get there after work, especially like, or maybe I just don't want to trek to the city and then have add an hour plus to my commute on each way, right?
Yeah.
So do you find that maybe sometimes being a struggle on why you go virtually more often than not, or?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, yeah, I do it more virtually, like you said, because LA traffic is not pretty. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sometimes it does take a lot longer. So I do more virtual than I do in person. But if I do go in person, I typically go on the weekends. So fortunately, there are coffee chat meetings or coffee groups that do meet on the weekends. So I try to make my time to go out to those a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. Like I think the coffee chats are great. And you work remotely, correct?
No, I have to go in office 3 days
Oh,
a
you
week.
do? I
I
thought you worked from
know.
home. Ah,
Yeah, I do a hybrid, so it's not
okay.
as bad. But
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm work from home 1 day a week, so like
oh, I
on those
see.
1 days I try to like make the most of it while I'm working from home.
Mhm.
And yeah, it would be great to be able to do stuff more often. I feel like I would love to be able to just go work at a coffee shop with a group of people and stuff. But also
Mhm.
the nature of my work, I kind of can't do that too much in public because of the confidential
Oh,
stuff
that.
on my computer.
Mhm.
But um, aerospace and defense industry, what
Yeah.
it is, what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, awesome. I appreciate your time today, Mai. This was a lot of fun, and I always like learning more about everyone that I'm working with.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And like I was telling you too as well, I love to see these episodes turn out to branch outside of Gridiron. So
Yeah, there might be something coming. It's just one of those projects that I'm working on.
yeah, let's
Always trying to
do
make
it.
time. If anyone wants to rewatch this, Mai, I'll send you the link as well, so you can have it. I noticed you have like a spot on your website for like things you've spoken about and stuff
Oh,
like
I
that.
do.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this will be up on YouTube. I mean, I think you could probably rewatch it on Twitch, which mislabeled it. Cool. But yeah, it'll be up on YouTube. It's Ryan.Fur basically everywhere besides LinkedIn. You can find my at Mai Vang SWE on X and just My V on LinkedIn, right?
Oh no, I think it should be my Ving Sweet and LinkedIn too.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool beans. Well, everyone, my hangout real quick after I end the stream. But everyone, thank you for hanging out this morning. I appreciate you all,
Yeah,
and
thank you
have a
everyone.
great long weekend if you're in the U.S. 3
Hmm.
plus day weekend for everyone.